But no, not Sandy Shaw, but another musician with his take on the week's stories is journalist and singer John Robb. John, lovely to see you.
All right, yeah.
Welcome
I'm loving
back.
the link from Sandy Shaw to John Robb.
Yeah, similar kind of feel.
That's the way we do it here. And you've been looking at the papers for us this week.
Yeah.
And what's caught your eye?
Well, the first thing I was looking at was Jordan doing the Eurovision Song Contest last night. I mean, it's quite funny when you see Sandy Shaw was like a really great pop star, and Jordan is just quite definitely not a great pop star at all, is she? I mean, it's just like a very kind of contemporary kind of thing, and people want to be pop stars but have no idea how to do it. She's got zero talent. She's just pointless. I was watching the pub last night, and everyone was laughing at her. It was like, and when she lost, it was great because I think she really thought she's going to win it as well. It's all about arrogance and not talent.
Are you being a bit harsh? She's made herself into a very saleable
very
product,
generous,
hasn't
really.
she?
Is that what happens now with your industry? I mean, you're a singer in a rock band, but a lot of it is just pre-packaged and formulaic, as they
I don't
say.
have a massive problem thinking being pre-packaged. I mean, some pre-packaged stuff is great as well, but I think Jordan's just useless. I think she's pointless. I mean, it's just part of celebrity culture. It's
just ruined her Mother's Day, haven't we?
Well, she won't be flying the flag for Britain, that's for sure.
No, she won't. She'll be in one. Just.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And then the ambition to actually want to be in the Eurovision Song Contest, it seems strange anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, another sign of our times, John. A sad day today. I think that people have picked up on the news that the Bishop of Liverpool died, and he was a sportsman. We're going to have a little look at the sport. Actually, sorry, I've skipped you over one story. Tell us about football.
Yeah,
which we're going to link in with the Bishop of
before
Liverpool.
I talk about David Sheppard, we'd like to talk about like the football. There's a lot of people complaining about the behaviour of footballers and don't want the kids to watch the football after. They want to have a watershed so the kids can't watch it afterwards, which I think's a shame because football's a fantastic sport and all that. But the behaviour of the football players is getting really tedious, and they think they're rebels, but they're just like overpaid like brats, aren't they? And I think when they start pushing the referees over, like the assistant referee got pushed over last week in a match. That's ridiculous. If you don't have a referee, you don't have a match. It doesn't work, does it? It's just like loads of people messing about. And I've never seen, I've been watching football for 30 years, and I've never ever seen any referee go, "You've got a point there, yeah, it was offside. let's replay the whole thing, you know." And what these people thinking, they're just like spoilt brats, aren't they? And it's funny
sometimes you see the ref, and I've seen him there was an encounter with Wayne Rooney when the ref kind of explained to, I don't know, his colleagues or the crowd or the cameras was doing that, which means that, you know, there was language. And, you know, you don't have to be a world expert lip reader to tell sometimes.
But that's always been the thing about football. People have always sworn at the football. And I don't have a massive problem. Yeah,
Bobby
of course
Charlton,
they have.
Bobby, you know those old boys.
Of course they did. Yeah,
did they?
Yeah, I don't think people said, oh damn. I think people have sworn properly at football for years and years and years, haven't they? But I think it's when they start pushing the referees over and that kind of thing's bad. When you see like kids playing football now, there's like loads of 5-year-old kids having tantrums on the pitch. Which when you're 5-year-old.
German said in 1966. What's German for? I'm sure that wasn't a goal. Oh, don't let me get started on that. We touched on it earlier. But David Sheppard, a sportsman, a true gentleman who became a clergyman, became Bishop of Liverpool, has died, and he's fondly remembered in all the papers today.
Yeah, well, David Sheppard was really good. He was a Bishop of Liverpool, and he used to be a captain of England's cricket team. He's a classic kind of, like, a 1950s kind of figure, really. I mean, you don't have... Well, cricket aren't heroes anymore, are they? Well, I'm just a kind of normal guy. I never really heard of it, the bishops, but you heard of him. He actually made a difference, didn't he?
To be fair, if there's one bishop that anyone who could name, it probably would have been him.
Well, Desmond Tutu, just because of the name, sticks in your head, doesn't it? But because he stood up against Thatcher and he said a lot of things about the poverty in Liverpool. I don't think he actually made much difference, but he used his role really well, and he spoke some things, and he got a lot of grief off the government at the time. They're saying, well, something from the church shouldn't be saying kind of things like this. But it was fantastic that he did, you know. I mean, I think if you look, you know, people like Jesus would have stood up against that, like, you know, like an original kind of rebellious figure.
I suppose there was a time when, you know, in the 80s when the Labour Party was then in disarray, that people like him were the only vocal opposition. Well,
they weren't the only ones, but they're the only ones that could probably get heard enough. And it's him. There's a couple of other bishops at the time, but he was the most not incredibly outspoken, rebellious, but he just said things that should have been said. And I think he was. If you're a bishop, you should be caring about stuff like that.
I'm thinking Wayne Rooney for Archbishop.
Yeah, well, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, the Archbishop of Liverpool. I don't think
wouldn't happen today, would it? I mean, a sporting hero becoming an Archbishop.
Well, you can't really say that, can you? I think at some point.
I can't think of anybody.
Yeah, but at the time, they think, a cricket player can't be the Bishop of Liverpool. That isn't going to happen. But I think, of course, it could happen. You mean maybe Wayne Rooney, when he gets older, will become a man of the cloth. Who knows?
Yeah. Hats being eaten all over the place.
It's been an interesting week for religion on the front pages because the story of the schoolgirl from the Luton secondary school who took it to the very highest court in the land to make sure she could wear her full head-to-toe jalab uniform, and she won the right to do that, which has caused endless controversy all week.
Yes, it's interesting because it's actually split the Muslim community as well. I think there's quite a lot of Muslims think she might have gone a bit too far, and there's obviously other people agree with it. And I'm a fairly liberal kind of guy, and I don't mind what people wear. I mean, I think you have to work in the context of school uniform, because you take the school uniform out, the whole thing just kind of collapses, doesn't it? You wouldn't even know which school anybody went to.
Now, John, I'm guessing, just looking at you now, and I'm guessing the kind of guy you are at school, probably jumping to huge conclusions, but that's what I do, that you probably wouldn't have been that madly fond of school uniform yourself.
No, but that was part of the fun of being at school. You kind of rebelled against the school uniform. In fact, the school uniform looked a lot better than what most normal people wear anyway. I mean, if you didn't have school uniform, everyone turned up in sports casual, it'd be just be people turning up in like grey tracksuits or something. But I don't think she's not being rebellious. You see, that's the thing. It's weird. She's actually been more conservative than the school uniform. It's kind of going the other way around. We're kind of rebelling over here. Weird. And the girls at school were trying to wear like mini skirts, and now obviously because it's a Muslim thing. I mean, they're trying to cover herself up completely.
Yeah. Can we hear it for a city I've lived in? Poor old Carlisle has had, in the past few years, the football team were doing rubbish. They had those terrible floods, and they had the whole scourge of foot-and-mouth disease. And people now think it's a curse. Yeah, well, they're blaming it on this this kind of sculpture that's in the local museum, which got like this archbishop in the 15th century, although the 16th century did this curse to stop the border raids. The Scotch, was my lot
you lot's coming over the border, robbing the sheep.
I apologise to Carlisle.
And now you come over the border and you work on TV, so it's...
So there was a curse placed by the Archbishop, and then they commissioned this piece of art with the curse written on it. How does that make any difference? The curse was there. I don't understand why the city is suffering.
I think it's had the last 3 years, I think they've had a few kind of strange things. I mean, a flood is not a very kind of normal kind of thing, but I think it's obviously people, attention seekers trying to get in the papers by going on about it. And the curse actually put on the border raiders. It wasn't like to invoke a flood. And let's face it, since the early 70s, Carlisle Football Club has never done very, very well. I mean, they hung on for years and years, so I don't think they could blame it on the statue.
If you get an Archbishop in to negate the curse, then football club Premiership. Top of the Premiership?
Well, let's see if that happens. That will prove that they're right all the time.
John, thank you very, very much. If there's one corner of this kingdom that doesn't deserve a curse, it's Carlisle. I hope they have a much better year than the Fine town.
Thanks.